Hi everyone, in this video I'll be showing how to make my favorite soup can camp stove. This is a stove that only takes about 5 minutes to make. It only requires a single soup can and only one tool, one of these old style can taps. Later in the video I'll be showing just how well the stove works to cook over by preparing a full meal, using a recipe and ingredients provided by my sponsor for this video, Blue Apron. Blue Apron is a company that provides recipes and fresh ingredients right to your door. And if you check my video description below, you can find a link through which you can get 3 free meals. But I'll talk more about Blue Apron later. To start this project, you of course need a soup can. And I'm using one of a fairly average size. You could use a larger can, but you might want to increase the number of air intakes in the final design accordingly. Making the air inlets to my stove is a 3-step process, the first of which is to punch a hole in the sidewall toward the bottom of the can. This new hole in the can creates a new ledge that the lever arm of my can punch can connect with, so that I can now punch a hole in the bottom of the can. The metal on the bottom of the can is much thicker than the metal that makes up the sides, so this hole will be much more difficult to punch, but it will be worthwhile to have this thicker metal when it comes to the final step. The third and final step will be to insert the can punch back in the original hole so that we can push the flaps of metal that we've just created outwards toward the bottom. These flaps of metal will make up the stand that this stove sits on. And that completes one of my 4 air vents. I now need to do this 3 more times to finish the bottom of the can. It's now easy to see how these 4 metal flaps will act as the feet of my stove, and they're soft enough that they can be easily bent so that the stove will sit level. However, they are quite strong since they are made of the stronger metal that composes the bottom of the soup can, that this stove should be quite durable. With that, the bottom portion of this stove is complete, and the top portion is a much simpler task. I'm punching 8 holes in my can, which will be evenly spaced around the rim. This allows airflow to intermix with the smoke so it can burn. As I do this, I just want to bend down the sharp metal flaps so that there's nothing that I can cut myself on. And that is my stove completed. It's now ready for a test burn. One of my favorite parts of this stove design is just how easy it is to get started. It hardly needs any preparation. You just need a small bundle of about matchstick-sized twigs to layer on the bottom of the can, to act as the first fuel that will ignite the rest. You can then layer above slightly larger pieces that will burn for a longer period of time. When the stove is finally going, you can use pieces about as big around as your index finger to actually fuel the stove for long duration while you're cooking. For now, I just have the stove loaded with small and medium-sized sticks, and to ignite it is as simple as taking a lighter and holding it up to one of the vent holes on the bottom. And that's it. This stove is now ready to cook on, and you can see it is more than hot enough. Now, to cook most efficiently, you will need a pot stand with this stove. If you don't have one, you still can set a pot directly on top of the stove thanks to the vents along the rim, but it will be quite smoky. It will burn much more efficiently if the pot is elevated with a pot stand like this. This is a simple tri-fold pot stand. You can find about 1 million tutorials online to make one of these, and I'll put some in the video description below. Now, if you don't want to make your own pot stand or purchase one online, this is another option that I found. This is a utensil holder that I found at a grocery store, and my soup can stove fits right inside. And then, of course, a pot can rest right on top. Now, this is a little harder to take with you if you are camping or backpacking because it's rigid and quite heavy, whereas this tri-fold pot stand can fold flat and it's very lightweight. However, if weight is not a factor, this might be a good way to go. Another nice thing about using a pot stand with these stoves is they allow you to continue to feed the fire without having to lift your pot or pan off. Well, all that's left to do now is try using these stoves to actually cook something. So let's open my box from Blue Apron. This right here, if you are into camping and hiking, the packaging that Blue Apron uses is something you're going to want to keep. This is aluminized bubble wrap, and if you throw this into a backpack or bag, you will have an instant cooler. Very useful stuff. Digging into this bag, I have a variety of ingredients for 3 different meals that were included in this package, and all of it is quite fresh thanks to this thermal packaging. This lemongrass salmon recipe should work quite well to test these stoves, and Blue Apron sends all of their recipes with excellent picture instructions. The first thing I need to do is start cooking my rice, which this stove should have no trouble with at all. All right, I've got my taste tester here. What do you think, Mose? Do you want to try some? Yeah? All right. Oh, you're messy. Just like every other recipe I've made from Blue Apron, and I've made many of them now, this one turned out really well, even over these little camp stoves. If you would like to try Blue Apron, they will deliver these fresh ingredients and recipes right to your door in that great thermal packaging I showed earlier. It'll stay cold even if you're not home to receive the package. And if you check my video description below, I have a link down there that you can use to get 3 free meals if you're one of the first 100 people to visit it. I think you'll really enjoy them. Like I've said, I've tried many of their recipes and I've enjoyed every single one. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you find this camp stove design useful. If you use it, let me know. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I still read all of my comments, and it's a highlight of my day, so please do leave me some feedback below. I want to thank you for watching this video. I'll see you next time. Isn't that right, Mosey? Good bird. Good salmon?